What we know about him is that he was a man who was a military hero of the Gaddafi regime, who joined the rebel forces very early on during the uprising, before the situation developed into a proper conflict, and he was finally killed by either pro-Gaddafi forces in Benghazi or indeed rebels, depending on who you want to believe. He was certainly involved as a Gaddafi loyalist in suppressing dissent and keeping rebels down. What we know about this man as well is that he was a former Libyan interior minister, as well as being a top military man. So he would have been involved in the security of the Gaddafi regime previously.
Will there be any credence to reports that suggest there were elements in the rebel establishment that suspected he was double-crossing them because of his previous history with Colonel Gaddafi?
Every story we're hearing at the moment has some credibility. There has been a claim that the rebels thought he was still working for Gaddafi in some way or shape or form. It's very hard to tell what happened exactly.
What are the implications of this death to the Libyan Leadership Council?
In general, what it says about this conflict, I'm afraid to say that, that's what happens in civil wars. Brothers fight brothers, and suspicions are everywhere, and nobody quite knows who to trust. And again, I think this is a terrible indictment of what is turning into an increasingly bloody, horrific situation in Libya. But what it also says, as far as the rebels are concerned, is it's very obvious that the NATO coalition has failed to lead the rebels to outright victory. So what it says, with the killing of this top general, it will be even harder for the rebels to coordinate the actions and to make further push towards Tripoli, and indeed ruin every chance to get hold of Tripoli in the end.
How much of a blow is this when you consider the fact that barely a day after Britain announced it would officially recognize the Transitional National Council as the sole authority, the legitimate authority? How much of a blow will this be?
It's a huge blow for the international community, and it's a further example of the utter failure of military action in Libya. The hawks in this conflict, especially France and Britain, were hoping that they would bring Gaddafi down in over a few weeks. Britain's recognition of the National Transitional Council was an admission of the failure of military action, and it was, even though it wasn't said openly, it was the beginning of a new phase in this conflict, i.e. Finding a political solution